The 4th of January 2021, real true education, not fake news. And I just want to very briefly finish up on this negative numbers thing and for some food for thought. It's video 41J-a, and I see comments on the channel about my indexing. Yeah, I used to have a particular number for each topic, and now I'm just doing them one at a time, whatever comes up, and I see the point. That is a bit hard to follow. You mightn't want to follow that at all. I'm going to consider now going back to some other system that you'll know. If it's about maths, it's one thing. If it's about energy, it's another. I think maybe there's something to that. Please comment underneath and give me your views. Somebody said, how would you figure out his indexing system? And all I can say is we're experimenting a wee bit. Do feel free to comment. So anyway, 41J-a. This is 41J-a, right? Now the thing about power. So we take the negative number. So we take positive. Never forget about the negative number for a minute. 10 to the power of 0 is the same as 10 divided by 10 equals 1. That's all right. You have to have somewhere to start. 10. So 10 to the power of 1 is 10 multiplied by 1 equals 10. 10 to the squared, and this is very important, they have to make the 10 to the power 2. They can't change that. That has to be a square. If it's a square, 10 by 10, it has to be 100. So 10 to the power 2 is 100. And then 10 to the power 3 is 10 multiplied by 10 multiplied by 10 multiplied by 10. That's 1,000. So if you have a tank and it's 10 one side of it and it's perfectly cube, you'll have 1,000 then, 10 by 10 by 10. That's all right, there's no big issue there. But now there's the cube shape, and there's the square shape there. So in a way, like you have a square, two-dimensional. That's 10 to the power 10 to the power of 2, and then you have a cube, and that's all the sizes there are in nature. You can't have any more than 3 dimensions except for time. You're into Einstein stuff there. So again, here 10 to the power 0, 10 to the power of 1 is 10, 10 to the power 2 is 100, 10 to the power 3 is 1,000, just to reiterate that. Okay. When you turn to negative numbers, you have 10 to the power 0 is still 1. You have 10 to the power minus 1 is 1/10. So you're not really dividing it by itself. Divided by itself, it will give you 1. But 10 to the power 0 is 1. So they have to have, this can't be 1. So 10 to the power minus 1 is 1/10. And they say that's positive. Now if you multiply 10 by minus 10, you would think that should be minus 0.1 if you stuck to the rule. So now 10 to the power 2 is 100th, 0.01. And 10 to the power 3 is 1,000. 1,000. But if you take it that actually 10 is a positive figure, 10 to the power of minus 1 is 10 divided by minus 1. So why isn't it minus 1? The answer. 10 squared is 10 multiplied by minus 10 is minus 100. Okay, and it's not. It's not mine. That's what I have here, but it's not. It's actually 100. And 10 multiplied by 10 to the power minus 3 should be 10, a positive, multiplied by a negative is 10 is 100. Multiplied by a negative is 10 is 1,000. It should be plus. It should be plus 1,000. Okay, see there. So if you used it the way they tell us for the negative numbers, when you'd multiply one positive number by a negative number, you'd get a negative. When you'd multiply one positive number by a negative number, you'd get a negative. And if you multiplied it by another negative number, you get a positive. So essentially, if they were following the rule, it would be minus 1 minus 100 minus for the squared, it'd be 10 minus 10 is minus 100, and for the 1,000 it'd be 10 multiplied by minus 10 is minus 100 multiplied by minus 10 again, and that then would be plus. That would be plus 1,000. So right, look at 10 multiplied by minus 10, would be minus 100. Multiplied by minus 10 again would be plus 1,000. That's what I have there. Okay. So they don't follow the same rule in the case of square roots. Now I know it's a bit complicated like that, but I'm not really good into square roots. What I am saying is they change it to suit themselves and make it very hard to study. If a minus by a minus is a plus, then it should be a plus. But in actual fact, what I'm saying, that in nature that doesn't happen. A minus, once it's minus, if you multiply it by a minus, it's a minus. It should be a minus, not a plus. And therefore, if you any further multiplications would always be minus. So 10 to the power of 10 minus 10, 10 to the power minus 10, multiply by 10 to the power minus 10 would be still minus 1,000. The same as a minus by a minus should be a minus, because that's all it is. It's just a direction. You're just dividing or multiplying a signpost, really. You can't really multiply a plus by a minus in reality, because they're two different designations. They're two different things. They're apples and oranges. That's just to clarify this a little bit. You go on for ages about it. Just come back to my main point. I claim there's no such thing as a negative number. You can have a notion of it or an imagination of it, but it's just a label. It's just a label on a direction or where a thing is placed. And where a thing is placed makes no difference to how you do calculations or how you calculate the area of a farm in one place or another place or whatever. It's or above the sea or below the sea. So if you have a ship half is above the sea level, the water level, the same maths applies to calculating the volume as the part that's below the water level, even though it's minus the sea level. That's what I say. It's we let you go with that. It's a bit complicated, I do believe, but would you believe it, an awful lot of children suffer a lot with that, get it very, very hard to figure out these things, and a lot of it is people just trying to be smart, and if they were challenged on it right, they couldn't stand over it. We'll let you go. Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down, and we'll see you back for something else. Thank you.